guys, my name is Chantel. Welcome back to my channel and thanks for hanging out with me today. So today we're going to talk about episode 11 of Tsurune. So I'm really sorry that I haven't been talking about Tsurune for the past 4 episodes just because if you guys don't know, I was actually busy with my 12 days of anime videos and those took up more time than I originally thought. So because of that, I just did not have enough time to sit down and talk to you guys about those 4 episodes, even though I was itching to talk to you guys about it because oh my gosh, they were pretty good, especially the last 2 episodes. Oh my god. So with that being said, we're gonna go ahead and talk about episode 11 of Tsurune. So this episode actually focuses a lot on Masa-San, and we basically kind of get to know him a little bit better and see just what he's thinking, how he's feeling, and all that good stuff. And I really enjoyed it just because I feel like we've gotten to know him more on a deeper level versus what we've been getting these past few episodes where we get little by little information. And I just felt like I didn't really know this character as well as I knew the others. But now he's having his little spotlight now, so yeah, and we basically get more information about how rocky his relationship was with his grandpa and just how much his grandpa's harsh words really affected him when he had target panic, and that basically kind of caused them to drift apart because his grandpa basically, from what Masa-san was saying, it basically kind of sounded like he was treating this as like nothing serious, and that kind of almost like when a parent thinks that you're faking it. That's basically kind of like the best way I could describe that. And because of that, that basically just made him run away from home and rebel against his grandpa, as he puts it. So after that, he says that his target panic was finally, you know, he was recovering from that. And when he decided to finally make amends with his grandpa, it ended up being a little too late. And it was really sad because when he has this heart-to-heart with Minato, he basically pours all his feelings to Minato and tells him everything that's going on through his mind. And poor Masa-san, you can kind of see just that he's really broken on the inside. Like bottom line, like he may look okay, but on the inside we can just see just how much this is affecting him little by little. You could really tell that Masa-san did love his grandpa, but because of that falling out that they had, it just made things a little bit rough and awkward. And yeah, it was kind of sad just hearing Masa-san's story, like his side of the story, and he wants to get to know his grandpa. He wants to be able to move forward and move on from these feelings that he has and, you know, recover from them. And the only way that he's able to do that is to talk to the people that knew his grandpa the best. So he goes and sees 2 people. One is Sayojin Sensei, which is the one that taught Minato and Shu. And she has a little bit of information about his grandfather, but she doesn't tell him exactly what he said, especially because she even says, you know, I haven't been talking to him either, so I have no, it's not my place, basically is what she said. So she told him to go and speak with, shoot, what was the name of the best friend? Onose? I think that was the name of the guy. He basically told him to go to Onose and talk about their grandpa, see what there was to his grandpa, like really get to know him other than the version that he knows. Which is really interesting because I feel like when it comes to, I guess, us human beings, we all have a different perspective of a person. We might see a person a certain way, but someone else can see them completely different, and that's just how life is. So I definitely think if Masa-san talks to Onose, he'll get a better sense of who exactly his grandpa was and really get to know him other than what he knows. But that was basically the gist of the episode, just him like wanting to find the answers to himself and kind of struggling with that because it almost seems like he's afraid of finding these answers himself and learning about his grandpa for whatever reason. But at the same time, I feel like it's kind of understandable. Like, he's afraid to dive in deep, and I don't know, I feel like it maybe, I don't know, I really can't say too much about Masa-san because he is just a very, very closed kind of character to where, I don't know, it's just really hard to read him is basically my point. Oh, also one thing that I do want to mention is the conversation that Seiya and Minato had together about Masa-san. I really liked seeing Seiya's perspective of Masa-san because Minato sees, you can clearly see it based on this conversation, that he sees Masa-san in a totally different way where he just seems very like bright and open and very mature, and you know, Seiya has a totally different perspective. He started saying, you know, when he smiles or when he looks at him, it almost seems like something is there that's bugging him. And it's kind of interesting. Like I said, everybody has different perspectives of a different person. So it was really interesting to see Seiya's point of view of how he sees Masa-san, but it also makes sense. And I'm like, I get where he's coming from and what he's trying to say. Masa-san might seem like he's okay and has it together, but in reality, deep down, he probably doesn't. I mean, he definitely doesn't, because after his conversation in the last episode with Tomi Sensei, how he talks about when he was little, he'll see the adults and they look like they have everything together, but now that he's an adult, he's like, what the heck? Like, I don't know what to do. What am I doing with life? And another thing that I want to mention, the reason why I'm bringing it up anyway, is because Seiya mentions this same thing to the rest of the boys to try to get to basically kind of understand Masa-san's mentality, I guess. I don't know. Like, try to get them to understand. Because he was like, well, when we were little kids, what did we think of the high schoolers? Did they seem mature to you? Did they seem like they had it all? And the guys were like, yeah, but now that we're high schoolers, what do you think? And they were like, well, we're very immature. We don't know what the heck we're doing. And that's basically like the point that Seiya was trying to get to, is basically kind of get them to understand that sense. That, you know, adults may seem that they have it all together, but they really don't, and they're just as lost as everybody else in the world. I really like that part in Tsurune, by the way. It was really interesting, and it's very, very, very relatable, because I feel like anybody can relate to this. So, I mean, like I said, Masa-san was very, 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 very relatable, especially when he's like this vulnerable and very open with the people, not really necessarily everybody around him, but certain people. It's, I don't know, it's really just nice to get to know this other side of Masa-san where he doesn't have everything together. He doesn't have all the answers, and he's still looking for answers himself. Now that I'm done talking about the main things I wanted to talk about, let's talk about the cliffhanger, because oh my freaking gosh, I should have seen it coming, especially the way that things were going, and how Minato was saying, you know, you need to talk to this person before it's too late, because you might not have it tomorrow, or there won't be like the next day and stuff like that. So I was like, this is getting kind of fishy. But like what Minato was saying, it's true. You might not have tomorrow. You might only have a few seconds or minutes. And both Minato and Masa-san know that very, very well. Minato with his mother and Masa-san with his grandfather. So it's better to not leave things unsaid and look for the answers and stuff like that that he needs and is afraid to ask, I guess, about his grandpa. But on his way back from seeing Onose sensei, he gets into a freaking accident, and I was like, oh my freaking god. I kind of knew it as soon as Minato tried to call him and text him, and he was like, his messages are not read. And I was like, oh no. I was like, please don't do that. Please don't, whatever you do, Tsurune, do not do anything to Masa-san. And then here comes the guy from the shop, and he's like, I need you guys to stay calm, but he got into an accident. And I was like, oh no. And the episode just ends there, and I'm just like, great, now I have to wait a whole entire week to find out if Masa-san is okay, which I'm sure he is, but Oh my gosh, I cannot imagine how much is this gonna affect the boys, specifically Onagi and Minato, because I feel like they're gonna be the most worried about Masa-san just because of how much they admire him and love him. And oh man, this is gonna tear up the boys. But even if they didn't know what was going on with Masa-san, they would, I feel like they would still be wondering like, where is he? Like, what's going on? Is something going like wrong? So either way, I feel like they would still be worried about Masa-san. So my gosh, I'm wondering how this is gonna affect their performance at the tournament, because they're just literally minutes away from their tournament basically, and it's like, oh my gosh. But knowing these boys are probably gonna rush to wherever Masa-san is at after they're done, and hopefully they're able to pull their best besides all this craziness that's going on with Masa-san. But yeah, that's about it. That's all I got for this week's episode of Tsurune. I hope you guys enjoy hearing me ramble on about this week's episode and just my overall thoughts. And yeah, so that's it for today's video, and I will see you guys next week for the next episode. Bye!